One of the most budget-friendly meta decks in Marvel Snap is the Ongoing Destroyer deck. We've been using this deck for a while, and it's very budget-friendly, requiring only one pool 3 cards. The rest are pool 1 and pool 2 cards. So if you're to see this deck in action, which works very well with the current featured location, then you know what to do, Valley Club. Find that like button and let's go snap it.
ValleyFlyin.
Hello, Marvel Snap fans. Welcome back to the Valley Snap channel. I am ValleyFlyin, and I hope you're enjoying Marvel Snap and having a great day. In this video, we are talking about one of my favorite decks, the Ongoing Destroyer deck. And one of the reasons that this is such a good deck is that as soon as you pull a Destroyer or are able to get him in the token shop, then this deck can work. Now, there are some variations I'm going to show you with some pool 4 cards, but with actually one pool 4 card, but you don't need that because there's an argument whether the pool 4 card is better than the other option that we have. Now, if you're your first time on the channel, hit that subscribe button because we have at least 5 Marvel Snap videos per week on this channel. Usually there's a lot more about decks, gameplay, news, everything to help your Marvel Snap experience and help you climb up to that rankings. Now, let's go check out this deck. Now, there's 2 main versions of this deck that I'm using right now, and this is the first one. Both of them feature Destroyer, which is a pool 3 card, the only pool 3 card that I think is necessary in this deck. And what he's going to do on real Destroyer cards, he did get a slight nerf in the last balance update, going from a 616 to a 615. I don't think that made too much of a difference because it is his ability destroying all the other cards, and 15 is still a great amount of power. Now, the backup option that we have, if we don't get Destroyer or don't get the cards like an Armor or a Cosmo to protect our other cards, we have a lot of ongoing cards, and Spectrum is a great card for that, giving your ongoing cards +2 power. We have a lot of them in the deck. Now, both decks do feature Ant-Man because it is an opening turn play that we can use. It is, if we get all 4 cards at this location, effectively turns into a 1/4 card. And if we get Spectrum giving +2 power, that eventually turns into a 1/6 card. So it could be a bunch of power, just a 1-turn play. And we also have Armor that will protect our cards from our Destroyer. The good thing about this Armor, it is also an ongoing card, and it could also protect another pool 4 card that we have in our hand. Colossus is great because he cannot be destroyed. So if there's other locations that you want a little bit more power on, maybe your opponent is kind of forgotten location, you guys are competing for the first 2, well, you could play this on the other location and Destroyer won't destroy this card. And it's also great for the Rickety Bridge featured location right now. Play that pretty confidently there. Lizard is another ongoing card, but does have a big downside. Could be a 2/2 card if your opponent is really playing into that lane, and could be a 2/7 card if they don't play 4 cards in that lane, and you get that Spectrum giving that power. So a lot of potential power. Mr. Fantastic is a great card for reach adjacent locations at +2 power. So if you play this in the middle and there's some location that you can't reach, like Sanctum Sanctorum, or you don't want to be playing cards into the Rickety Bridge, well, Mr. Fantastic can reach those locations. Cosmo is one of the replaceable cards, and we do have a deck without Cosmo. Sandman is in the other deck that we're using, but Cosmo is great to counter some of these on reveal abilities. Now, don't make the mistake that I did previously with this card, playing this card early for tempo. This is actually a card that you want to play late to counter some of their Wongs or some of their other ongoing cards that could have some power. So this is a great card, but you also need to be careful that you don't play this in the same lane that you're planning to play that Spectrum in, because Spectrum, while she does boost your ongoing cards, she is an on reveal card. So you want to be careful there. Atuma is a great card for tempo. It's a 4/10 card, which means it's got a little bit more power than Warpath, but it's debatable which card is better in this deck. Now, Atuma is a 4-cost card, so it's going to be a little harder for players to get, but Warpath is also a great card. Now, the good thing about Atuma, we could play multiple locations and not have that power drop. The bad thing about Atuma, we can't play multiple cards in that location unless we protect this Atuma with a card like Professor X, following up with Professor X, or playing a Armor before we play that Atuma into card with multiple lanes. So there is a downside with Atuma and a downside with Warpath, but the good thing about Atuma, you can play multiple lanes. The downside of Warpath is that you can't play multiple lanes because this is a 4/5 card if not, but if you play this if you're planning to play only 2 lanes, and usually with this ongoing destroyer deck, you're really trying to win and focus on 2 lanes. This will turn into a 4/9 card. So a little less power, but pretty much the same card, with each having a little bit of more benefit and a little more downside. So if you have both of these cards, it's up to you which one you want to use. I think I've had a little more success with Atuma, but I know a lot of these decks have Warpath, and I used to use Warpath in this deck and is very successful as well. Professor X is locking down that location, and if you don't have Daredevil in your hand, hopefully you could guess right what your opponent's doing based on what they've done before. Sometimes it's a 50-50 chance and you lose that 50-50 battle and you have to retreat, but sometimes you guess right, and it's great. Now, we talked about Sandman in this deck, and this is a different version of the deck that we're gonna see some gameplay of, as Sandman instead of Cosmo in this deck, and that limits what your opponents can do. It limits what you can do as well. Players could only play 1 card per turn. Now, in this ongoing destroyer deck, on these later turns, this is not necessarily a bad thing, because you're either going to play Professor X or Claw on turn 5, and then on turn 6 either destroy or respect him based kind of what the opponent is doing. So it's not really going to give you a downside, but it can potentially give downside to cards that have multiple turn plays, like Zabu decks or Silver Surfer decks or Negative decks or Sarah decks, or these multitude of other decks that want to play a lot of cards on that final turn. So Sandman is an option for Cosmo if you don't want to use that Cosmo, or not really getting lucky with timing of Cosmo or that. Now, Daredevil is a great card that you could use in this deck, but not required. He is a pool 3 card, but it just makes Professor X a little bit more reliable. Sometimes you kind of know where the opponent's gonna go, but sometimes you are totally guessing. This takes some of the guesswork out of it, makes the deck a lot more reliable, but it's not necessarily the worst case scenario if you don't have this card. I think the only real card that you need in this deck is that Destroyer. The rest of these cards you probably already have from those earlier pulls. So let's go test out both versions of this deck in action. Let me know which one you like better. Right, we have Professor X, Mr. Fantastic, and Lizard. Fixed Tower is the far left location. Nothing to play on turn 1. We're gonna have to skip our turn. We do have a Lizard, Mr. Fantastic, that we could reach other locations. And turn 2, I think we're gonna go with Lizard in the middle. Turn 3, I think we're gonna follow with Mr. Fantastic to give us a little more reach in some other location, and then see what they do. They have a Sunspot there. Could be a bunch of different decks that they're running. They have a Dark Dimension. Cards not revealed until the game ends. We're going to go with the Mr. Fantastic there. And I don't think they're going to play anything on Hala. Or they're going to continue work on Fist Tower, Dark Dimension. They actually skipped their turn. And we could use this to lock down a location. We're going to need to go with... We'll put this here. And actually, let's put this in Fist Tower. We could put Ant-Man here. And depending what they do, we could either lock down on... Yeah, no, I want to lock down Hala. That Sunspot still gives them opportunity to get more points there. There you go, Crossbones. They have 13 points. All right. So they had no cards that they destroyed. If they played nothing in Hala, or that would still give us the points that we need, something that can go up in points like Sunspot, then we're going to lock down that location with Professor X. And I think we're going to need to. All right, so we are going to lock down that location. They go with Typhoid Mary there. And that's going to give the other cards -1 power. Not great for them unless they have a Luke Cage hiding in their pocket somehow. So we're going to get that middle location. And no Sandman yet. All right, so I think they definitely have the left. They have that Typhoid Mary there, 10 power. Is that going to be enough to win? I think we're going to go Destroyer. I don't think if we play Spectrum, we're going to have enough points there. So that Daredevil will get destroyed. Hopefully they're not playing an Arrow. They go with Arrow, they win. Although, if we just put this on Fixed Tower, I don't think it's going to be enough. I think we're going to have to risk it and just hope that they don't play Arrow in this turn. The Destroyer. All right, so what do they have? Our Daredevil is gone. We win the middle, and we win right. All right. It is a close one, but we got the win. That played out exactly how we wanted. All right. We have Cosmo, Claw, Colossus all showing up on turn 1. We also have an Ant-Man. We don't want to play Ant-Man on Rickety Bridge. We're going to play Ant-Man in the middle. And I guess we could play Colossus on Rickety Bridge. Or do we want to just forego Rickety Bridge and put Colossus in the middle with Ant-Man to try to build up that location? I think that's what we'll do. Just avoid the Rickety Bridge at this point. Middle location is Gamma Lab. Let's make him into the Hulk. Let's do it. The only risk is Shang-Chi's. If we get our armor out, though, that'll be great for us. And then we could also play a Tuma in that lane. Or a Claw in that lane. Give a power to the next location. And then hopefully we get the Destroyer in our deck. We would need armor for a lot of this to work, though. So a lot of this depends on what we have. We have 7 cards left in our deck. There's a few cards that we will need. How many Hulks are they going to play? And do they have a Shang-Chi in their deck? That is the big question there. They go with Scarlet Witch, destroying Rickety Bridge, which is actually nice. Cards with no abilities have +3 power. We don't have any cards with no abilities there. So we're winning here after turn 4 gets a little extra power. So we don't get the... Do we play the Cosmo or wait? I think we want to wait on the Cosmo to see what they have in case they play a late Wong. Cosmo is not a card that we want to play too early. All right, so they have a 12 power Apocalypse in their hand. We need to keep track of that. We can lock down the middle with Professor X. Or what we can do, turn 4, play a Tuma there. Turn 5, play Professor X. To make sure that we win Asgard. And if they don't have a Shang-Chi, I don't think they're going to be able to compete with that power there. All right, so we are going to draw 2 cards that can give us some protection for our Hulk. We get Lizard, Daredevil. Daredevil is really not a big use right now. We could play Professor X to win Asgard. And we should win Gamma Lab unless they have a Shang-Chi. What are they going to play? They have a Sunspot. Very, very risky for us because that could always increase in power. Yeah, it's tied right now. We could go Claw. We could go Claw. And if they just play Shang-Chi, with that Shang-Chi will be 3 power. The Claw will be 4 power. We'll win. And then give more power to Asgard as well. Unless they don't play anything and build up their power of their Sunspot, 6 power, it'll be tied and we should win Gamma Lab. I think we have this with Claw, unless they have a Shang-Chi. Let's see what they play. If they play multiple cards, we could be in trouble. All right, so they play a Swarm trying to win that location. Get a +9, but our Claw, they weren't expecting it, and we get the Asgard win. No Destroyer, no Spectrum in this match. All right, we have Claw, we have Ant-Man and Colossus. Mojo World is the left location. I think we could play Ant-Man into Mojo World pretty safely. We could follow up with Claw. We could follow up with Colossus, Mr. Fantastic as well. We're swapping to positions, so we probably don't want to continue to play there. If there's a tie, those extra 100 power of Mojo World will not be great, but we could go Colossus here. Hopefully there's no Rickety Bridge in that last location to get swift with Mojo's World. They go with a Viper, giving us nothing. I'm wondering what plan they had with that Viper in her. All right, so it is a danger room there. We can go with, no way to really lock down a location. Let's go with Cosmo and Starlight Citadel. That'll give us a place that we could play Claw, Destroyer, without a risk of our cards being destroyed. You go Rhino, destroying Mojo World. Not the worst thing. And do we want to continue to build up for that Ant-Man? We will need to win another location, so We could play Mr. Fantastic here. Play Claw there, and then we can also play Spectrum if that shows up in our hand. But right now, it looks like we're playing for the Destroy play in the middle. Not sure if we're going to be able to come up with enough power on that left location, though. They go Armor, which is great for us. All right. Oh, so we have a chance of getting destroyed. I think what we want to do we want to build up the left or build up the middle? I think we want to get the most power in the left. So we'll go Atuma there because of the armor that they played. Won't get destroyed. That'll give us 16 in the middle. They'll have to make up 10. And are they going to play anything into the ruins is the big question. Also an option to go with Claw to get some points into the ruins. That could be pretty distracting. Let's see what they do. Are we going to put anything into Starlight Citadel on this turn? We'll have a 10-point lead. And actually, I forgot about the points for Ant-Man. So we're going to have a 13-point lead there. Are they going to be able to make up enough power in the last play if they put nothing on Starlight Citadel now? Let's see. It all comes down to this play. All right, so they go Blade, they go Cosmo, and they go Hawkeye. So they are trying to get those ruins there. I think we could go Destroyer there. 10 points there. Don't have a 5, so they could actually win here with a 10. Are they going to be able to play multiple locations, though, if they win? If they win this, we'll win that. They already have the middle. I think we need to compete in the middle for this. There's no way that we compete in multiple locations. We put Viper here. That'll tie the middle. That'll win the left. That's assuming they play nothing right now. Where are we going to play Destroyer? I think we go Destroyer here. We'll destroy the Cosmo. We're still going to get an extra 2 power if we go here. So let's go with this one. Both are risky. We have that 25% of our Destroyer getting destroyed in the danger room. I think this is a less risky option. The big question is that right side. Are they going to be able to put up that 10 power on that right side? Where do they go? It looks like they're going to go Hawkeye. Will they have enough power? They have a Sentinel. And they have a Cerebral. All of them 3 power. Not enough for Starlight Citadel. And we get the 15 for the Destroyer. So we get the win. We give them the middle, but we get the left and we get the right. Nice, clean victory. All right, we have Mr. Fantastic, Warpath, and Professor X. Vormir, the first card you play here is destroyed. And just to give us some options here, I think we're going to go and sacrifice our Ant-Man. I do want to have some flexibility with the lane, so we're going to have open up Vormir. The first card they play there will be destroyed as well. Turn 5 cards will get +1 power. Nothing to play on turn 1 or turn 2 except for armor. So I think what we'll do is we will armor up that Stark Tower. We're not going to armor up Vormir because that would not be good for us. All right, so because our opponent wouldn't have their card destroyed. And we have Nidavellir. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Anyway, it's +5 power for all cards. What we'll do is place Mr. Fantastic in the middle. We still don't have a Daredevil. So if we play that Mr. Professor X, it will be a huge gamble there. They go with Lady Sif, so running some kind of discard deck. They get discard their Hela. Hopefully they do not have their Ghost Rider. What we can do is either play Sandman or Warpath, and I think we're gonna go with this Sandman option. We're gonna go Sandman in the middle here to protect that card. And I think what we're gonna do is try to lock down Vormir with Professor X. Hopefully they don't play a card there. Now we'll see what they do. They are going on the far right location. They have a Dracula there. And we are gonna go with a gamble right now. We can play Professor X on the far left. Because of the Sandman, if they play 1 card there, it will get destroyed, limiting what they can do there. All right, so we win that left location. Professor X locks it down. And And I think for the win, we avoid the far right totally, and we'll play our destroyer in the middle, giving us extra power there. Whatever they sacrifice with Dracula is fine. Unless they have a Ghost Rider bringing some cards back. Not sure if they're going to be able to match the power that we have in the middle. We do have Vormir lockdown, and they retreat. So that's the ongoing destroyer deck, and like I said in the beginning, works very good with the current featured location. Maybe one of the best decks for this featured location in that rickety bridge. Hopefully you enjoy one of these decks. Hopefully you have the cards to create this deck. If you don't have Daredevil, if you don't have Atuma, no worries. You can make up the rest with these other cards. Load it with a bunch of ongoing cards, give you a bunch of win conditions with either Spectrum or Destroyer. Make sure your cards are protected, and you should rock. Good luck using this deck. Let me know which version you like better. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you next time. If you haven't already checked out some of the other videos, check out some of the other videos on the channel. We have a lot of other decks that you may be interested in. A lot of fun decks, and we have some climbing decks as well to try to climb to infinite. So that is it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Share this with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time. Hulk fist bump. ValleyFlyin out. Have a great day, guys.